ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Rex Bacarra. Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Before po kayo mag-talk, sir, we have something, a video presentation for you on your birthday. Ma'am Emily, please. May pasabog, Sir Rex. Nagkakaroon ng konting technicalities. I hope, Sir Rex, that you won't mind grabbing your pictures from the FB. Oh, nagkakaroon po ng konting sa aming internet dito, Sir Rex.
No problem. I think it's better just to send it to me, and I'll be very happy to watch it.
Million of tuyok pa siya.
We really wanted to show it to you, sir. It's a surprise for your birthday.
Ay, no.
Nagkakaroon ng konting technical.
Pril, excuse me, Pril, kung makaya, after na lang sa talk ni Dr. Rex, kung makaya.
Better, yes po. Okay, once again, let me introduce and I welcome to this webinar our guest speaker. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Sir Rex Bacarra.
Thank you very much. Just give me...
Pril, excuse me, Pril, kung makaya, after na lang sa talk ni Dr. Rex, kung makaya.
Better, yes po. Okay, once again, let me
Pril, after na lang Ems,
welcome to this webinar.
Excuse me, Emily, ayan.
Speaker.
After na lang sa talk ni Dr. Rex.
Sir Rex Bacarra.
April, thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. Give me... And I hope you're seeing my screen. Are you seeing my screen or not?
Yes,
better. Yes po. Thank you, sir. Okay, once again.
So you see my screen.
Well, after na lang Ems,
welcome
okay,
to this
give me a
webinar.
second.
Our guest speaker.
After na lang sa talk.
Because now that, just let me know if you're not seeing my screen, but because I couldn't really see all of you, just give me a second. Let me have this, this one. Okay. So dito, I just want to know, ano nakikita niyo sa screen?
Yes, sir. The title of your presentation and
okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, and for everyone, daghang salamat sa imong maayong pagpaila, as I always say. And nalipay ako ang akong kasing-kasing that I'm here with you, every one of you. And of course, I would like to thank the whole administrators and the Department of Education of General Santos City and of course Batspa University, Dubai, for this wonderful afternoon. Let me adjust my PPT. And I hope that it's going to be an afternoon of learning and hopefully also of inspiration. And I just want to thank also Dr. Lita Danza for this invitation to be with you and of course the team, and for your efforts. To Dr. Nino Tenorio, the Vice President of Batspa University, who's a great friend and a colleague of mine. To the ARALING PANLIPUNAN teachers for your efforts in organizing this as well. and for listening to me for this wonderful afternoon. Thank also, as mentioned, this is my birthday, and this is also my invitation to be with you, and of course the team, sharing my knowledge and my expertise, whatever little wisdom. Dr. Nini Tenorio, the Vice President of Bacarra University, who's a great warmest recognition and gratitude to all the ARALING PANLIPUNAN teachers who are here efforts in organizing this as well. And for listening to me for this wonderful afternoon. Thank you. As I mentioned, I'm happy birthday, and this is also my invitation to be with you, and of course the team, sharing my knowledge and my expertise, whatever little wisdom. Dr. Nini Tenorio, the Vice President of Bacarra University, remember, who's a great warmest recognition and gratitude to all the ARALING PANLIPUNAN teachers right now. We're trying your efforts in organizing this as well. And for listening to me for this wonderful afternoon. As I mentioned, my invitation to you, and of course the team, sharing my knowledge and my expertise, whatever what we need. Dr. Nini Tenorio, the Vice President of Bacarra University, remember, who's a great warmest recognition and gratitude to all the teachers right now. We're trying your efforts in organizing this as well. And for listening to what started on about this, as I mentioned, my invitation to you, and of course the team, sharing my knowledge and my expertise, whatever what we need. Dr. Nini Tenorio, the Vice President of Bacarra University, remember, who's a great warmest recognition and gratitude to all the teachers right now. We're trying your efforts in organizing this as well. And for listening to what started on about this, as I mentioned, my invitation to you, and of course the team, sharing my knowledge and my expertise, whatever what we need. Dr. Nini Tenorio, the Vice President of Bacarra University, remember, who's a great warmest recognition and gratitude to all the teachers right now. We're trying your efforts in organizing this as well. And for listening around the world on a daily basis, as I mentioned, my invitation to you, and of course the team, sharing my knowledge and my expertise, whatever what we need. Dr. Nini Tenorio, the Vice President of Bacarra University, remember, who's a great warmest recognition and gratitude. Probably you're one of listening around the world on a daily basis. Let me tell you my story. I started in Catbalogan, Samar, and I think many of you are familiar with the capital in Samar. It's an impoverished place, okay? And I had a happy childhood there. I don't exactly remember the details, but my mom died when I was 6. And moments before she died, she told me something. Rex, be happy. Of course, I didn't understand her at that time. She was dying. I was crying. I wasn't schooled yet in the intricacies of power of faith. I didn't encounter yet the philosophical studies of Plato, of St. Augustine, of St. Anselm, and all the saints of heaven. I was a child. I was innocent. And I didn't know yet Angelina Jolie, who said that there's something comforting about death. It frees you from the burden of life because you realize that there is nothing to fear about it, but appreciate it. For me at that time, it was more like William Shakespeare when he said, death is a fearful thing. I was, and still am, a provincial boy. I grew up in Samar. My family isn't rich. My father did everything for us to survive. He was a teacher, a barrio teacher. He wasn't really bright by today's standards. He was assigned in one of the far-flung barrios in Samar, known as Malubago. I don't know if you've heard of the barrio known as Malubago. I don't even know if it's already a town now. And he needed to walk 5 kilometers away every day just to reach the school with Miguel Sarali. He was, and for me he is, the best father to me. And what he lacked intelligently, he made up with hard work. His love for us loomed large, and he loved trees, by the way. And the whole town now, in our province, is beautifully covered with large trees. because of my father. And I'm really, really, really proud of him. I graduated at 19 at Sacred Heart College in Catbalogan, as mentioned during the introduction. Right after graduation, I left Samar. I was young, I was unthinking, and I was rushed. All I did was dive. I plunged head on. All I wanted was to see what's in Manila. And my sister was in Manila, and the original plan was to be with her while looking for a job. I didn't find a job. Probably from the perspective of the employers, I came across as naive, provincial. I was shy. I couldn't speak. I couldn't really speak. You know how it is when you generally came from somewhere. And I always say this, okay, with a waray-waray, a waray-waray with a thick accent. When I would pronounce chinelas as chinilas, when I would pronounce, when I was in San Beda, when I would pronounce in the beginning San Bida instead of San Beda, that university in the Philippines. That was me. I remembered one moment that I had also a part-time selling glass cleaners in Manila, one of my experiences. I went from one house to another, and I remember going to a rich relative of mine in Laguna, the Cita complex, and I tried my best to convince her to buy the glass cleaner. She told me that I needed to show her first if it was effective, and asked me to clean the huge glass panels and windows of her huge house. The husband was basically working in Saudi, okay? And I did my best and sweated a lot trying to prove scrubbing the glass panels, okay? And I was trying to convince her that indeed it was the best glass cleaner. She didn't buy. And as they say, charge it to experience. At that time, I also felt awkward living with my sister, who was working while studying. She got married early, and aside, of course, from having a family of her own, but to be fair to my sister, she took care of me even to the point of sacrificing herself and allowing certain conditions just to provide for me. The next thing I did, after probably just 2 to 3 months in my sister's house, the next thing I did, I left. Again, as I did say, I wasn't thinking. My decision was based on feelings, not on rational thinking. I didn't even know at that time, I didn't know where to go. Now, this was the beginning for me of a series of sunsets of my life. With only a bag and a little money, I went around Manila, and at dusk, I ended up in Luneta. I was thinking at that time of sleeping there, and I saw a group of boys around my age, and one of them approached me and offered me, Pepsi. You know how it is, Pepsi in a plastic. And I do not know if you've seen one, but I thought that he was being nice. I drank it, and then I got dizzy, and then I fell asleep. And I woke up the following day because there was banging on the door, and the man was shouting, telling me that they already extended my time. I couldn't sense where I was at that moment. I didn't even know why I was in the room. All I remember was that I was in Luneta. I was feeling groggy. I opened the door and walked out, apologizing to the man, trying to make sense of what happened to me. I realized that my bag was gone and that I was a victim of a gang, the Ativan gang. And that my soft drink was basically laced with a drug that made me sleep. What they did was they took away my money, what little money I had, and also my bag. And even until now, that incident is in the blurry vision of my mind, in my mind. Even until now, it is still real, reminding me of my vulnerability and reminding me of life's reality. I went back to Luneta, and I saw the same group. But of course, I didn't even dare ask. It was my first real brush with danger. My heart was beating so fast out of desperation and frustration, out of fear and out of loss. That incident taught me to be cautious. I remember sleeping on the grass. I woke up. I went around some more. I remember only having 5 pesos in my pocket, which probably, they didn't notice. I remember getting so hungry that I used the 5 pesos to buy cooked rice again in the plastic. I went around the streets of Sampaloc in Manila eating. I also remember, by the way, somebody kicked me for no reason. I was walking, eating the rice in the plastic, and then somebody just kicked my back. I didn't even know how I didn't even know the guy. I didn't even know why he did that, what he did, what was the reason why he did that for. But I still got up and I walked around. I experienced sleeping on the streets of Paco, of Singalong, of Tondo, while trying to make both ends meet for whatever job I could get into. I experienced people seeing me but not looking at me. It is as if while they see me, they don't want to be bothered, not with the man who in their eyes at that time looked broken and looked unkempt. I remember one friend from Samar who saw me, and when I told him that I had nowhere to go, he said that I could stay in his house. I did, and I promised that if I get a job, I would repay him. I continued looking for a job. Then after several weeks, there was a time if I remember this correctly, I was taking a bath that I heard his mother shouting at him. The mother thought that I was out. She was scolding him for inviting me to stay in the house. And I still could remember, sabi niya, wala na nga tayong makain, nag-aampon ka pa ng palamunin. Or, words to that effect. I could hear her. I could hear her clearly, but I couldn't blame her. Pabigat ako. And of course, most importantly, we you are the torch bearers. Great teachers. How do we become great teachers? This is actually our question. First, by looking at ourselves. And basically, most importantly, our potential. And of course, secondly, great teachers, by deeply looking and reflecting on what are those considerations that we must have. First, by looking at ourselves and apply to become great teachers. So from the internal self to the external world in relation to our being a teacher. And basically, most importantly, our potential. And of course, secondly, remember this, okay? This is actually to be an excellent teacher. On what are those considerations that we must have? First, before you aspire to great ourselves and apply to become great teachers. So from the internal self, what are these basics, if you ask, in relation to our being? Start with ourselves, and basically, most importantly, our teachers and administrators. And of course, secondly, remember this, okay? This is actually an excellent teacher. On what are those considerations that we must? In other words, let's before we must know ourselves and apply to become great teachers yourself. So from the internal self. What are these? If you look at this particular relation, you will notice start with our teachers, and basically most importantly, our teachers and administrators. And of course, secondly, remember this, okay? You understand because it is only the man who understands that we must. In other words, first, before you teaching, knowing your knowing your limitations, knowing your shortcomings, and knowing your strengths, and what are the things that are if you look at this particular relation, you will notice start with our and basically most and not be concerned with teachers and administrators. Let me give you this. Remember this, okay? You understand that it is only the man who understands the best. In other words, this is known as circle of concern. Are you always concerned with the weather? Are you always concerned with other comments on social media? Are you concerned with the economy? Are you concerned with the news? Are you always concerned with other people think of you? Are you always concerned with other political and social views, natural disasters, celebrity lives? And if you notice in this particular circle, the external side of the circle is actually larger than the internal one. The white circle inside is narrower, smaller. And if you are this particular circle, about ideas, about your goals, about relationship in your family life, where you work, where you live, what you read, what you buy, what the skills that you learn, what experiences you gain, where you travel, the company or the kind of people or friends or team that you keep, the articles you've written, or have you written articles, initiatives you've taken, initiatives in your class, have you been creative in teaching, initiatives in your community or in the university or school that you're in or a member of, or probably the business that you wanted to start, or probably the influence that you're able to give to other people, or to your students for that matter. So here, if you look at it this way, instead of being mindful of the comments of others on social media, of looking and, trying to argue with other people about their political and social views, about Duterte, about the Dilawan, and many others, there really is nothing you can do about it. It's good to participate, but if your life is, you exhaustively dedicate your life with arguing against other people just precisely because of differences in politics and religion and belief, you will go nowhere in your life. If you constantly think about what other people think of you, then you're not going to be able to focus on who you are and what you do. My abbot in the monastery of Bukidnon, he would always tell me that the greatest and the surest way to failure is when you try to please everyone. Because of the reality that you cannot please everyone. It is an illusion to think that way. Now, structure and know what's urgent and what is important. In our life, it is necessary for us to narrow down because we have certain goals. You have to understand that there is birth and there is death. And we can only do so much during this time of our travel, of our spiritual and even lifelong travel. And you cannot do everything. And that is the reason why it is necessary for you to understand what is urgent and what is important. I will be giving to you what is known as the 4 quadrant of focus. What do you mean by the 4 quadrant of focus? It means that being aware of what is important and what is urgent. Okay? Imagine this as to be the self. Okay? As a self. And in our self, there are 4 windows of our self. First one, that is what is known as the urgent, and there is what is known as important. This is known also as the quadrant of necessity. So if there is a crisis, there are project meetings, there are tasks from quadrant 2 that were postponed, last-minute demands, deadline-driven projects, then you must attend to it urgently, okay, because it is necessary. And there is another quadrant which is known as urgent but not important. Examine yourselves, teachers, educators, okay? Because I don't want you to be confused in terms of what to do when you basically have 2 tasks or 3 tasks going on at a particular time. So the second quadrant is known as the urgent and not important, or the quadrant of deception. You might think that this is a priority. You might think that this is urgent, but it is not. What are those? Interruption. When you're having a crisis and somebody interrupts you, when you're having a project meeting and somebody interrupts you, you think that it is important. It is not. Phone calls, emails, reports, some meetings, other people's minor demands, and busy works. You know how it is when you're making your lesson plan or probably you're having a meeting and a friend calls you and you are tempted to basically get that call and attend to that call? Of course not. Know the hierarchy, know the priority, because it is going to be more productive if you're able to narrow down and to recognize and to be aware of what is important and what is urgent. The third quadrant is known as not urgent, but important. Remember this, not urgent, but important. It is known as the quadrant of quality, mental health, working toward goals, personal care, relationship building, true recreation, meditation, reading, exercises. It is not necessary for you to do it now, especially if you're having a meeting in quadrant 1. But it doesn't mean that you should not do it because they are, or it is important. It adds to the quality of your life. And the fourth one is going to be not urgent and not important. Again, examine yourselves. Are you focusing always in this particular quadrant? What are in this quadrant? Binge watching Netflix, or probably I Want TV, whatever local channels that you have there. Analysis paralysis. What do you mean by analysis paralysis? That inability to take the risk, that inability to form a solution. That is analysis paralysis. You're always weighing, you're always thinking, what if? Here is an issue, here is a problem. If I take action, what will happen to me? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages or disadvantages? You're always thinking day in and day out without coming up with a solution. That is being paralyzed by overly analyzing a particular issue or problem. Are you focusing so much on teleseries and Korean novelas? Or Tulfo, very popular in our country? Or are you very good in relaying information, whether truthfully or creatively? Are you a gossip? Mobile Legends for many, especially for men, or Dota, or any activity you use to procrastinate. Examine yourself. If you focus on here, remember, this is not urgent, this is not important, and this is known as the quadrant of waste. Okay, quadrant of waste. Now, do first the quadrant of necessity. For the quadrant of deception, the second quadrant, number 2, you need to delegate. If there is a conflict, like a crisis, and there is a report or some meeting, or somebody actually called you during a crisis meeting, then you need to delegate it. The hallmark of a good educator and a good leader is when you're able to properly delegate the task. Number 3 is schedule and create time for this. Okay, schedule, create time, because it is necessary, as I mentioned, because it adds quality to your life. And of course, minimize. I'm not saying that you should totally eradicate it. I'm not saying that you should not do it, but minimize, because this is the quadrant of waste. Okay, analysis paralysis, the teleseries, please don't spend 4 hours and 5 hours listening, gossiping, okay, playing, to the neglect of what is important. Now, becoming a great teacher is basically what matters in our life. Being a great teacher, it's actually not a mystery. Okay? You can do what I can do. You can do what Dr. Nini or Dr. Lito Danza or many others, okay, who basically dedicated themselves to teaching, to education. A superstar educator embodies passion and awareness of what matters most in his chosen profession. Now, my first class, when I was in Dubai, let me go back to that narrative, 10 years ago. You know, my first day in that class, I was peeking through the small window glass to have a glimpse of my students who were already in the classroom. You know, I saw really tall, multicultural students. I am a small guy, probably wouldn't notice this because I'm sitting. And all those Arabs, Chinese, Americans, Indians, French, etc. were way taller than I am. You know, I got intimidated. What if they wouldn't like me? What if they challenged me? What if they found me to be stupid and ignorant and dumb? There were so many whats and so many what ifs. But then I also realized that I am a Filipino and that I'm not just representing myself, but I'm also representing the Philippines. So I held my head high. I opened the door and I walked in. And I saw their faces, some surprised, some nonchalantly. Some were looking at me for the sake of looking. I knew they were surprised because at that time I was the only Filipino teaching in the American College of Dubai. And it is rare, again, at that time, for them to see Filipinos in the educational industry. Many Filipinos were either maids, waiters, sales, nurses, or hotel staff. And other, of course, in other industries, but rarely in education. I introduced myself. I was nervous. It was a nerve-wracking experience. But I thought, this is an opportunity that is disguised as a challenge. I needed to face it. I needed to confront it. And once I embraced and accepted my insecurities and accepted the challenge that I was able to run and not just walk, once I accepted that, I was actually running, not just walking. Of course, symbolically. In fact, I eventually flew. That first day made me resolve something. I told myself, Rex, you want to become a great teacher? You want to become a teacher who matters? A teacher who can make a difference? Then think. I asked myself that. I'm a person who is self-reflective. What is it that a teacher does in the class? I needed to identify the skills of a great teacher and enhance them. I reflected on what are the things that a teacher uses in delivering the lectures. And I resolved to improve on them. What I realized, which many of you probably also already realized, great that you are, great educators that you are, is that if you want to improve your students, you must first improve the teachers first. And that is why I started with the realization. This is not a workshop, this is a talk. But if this is a workshop, I could have given you training on how to really, at least lengthily, to become great educators in terms of enhancing your skills. You need to improve yourselves first. According to Anthony Alvarado, the Chancellor of Instruction for San Diego City Schools, those who teach or who lead teaching have to become better at what they do. And the only way they're going to become better is by focusing their time and energy on improving their knowledge and skill base. You see, good professional development requires constantly analyzing what one tried, what one accomplished, and then what one must do to make that more powerful when you apply it. Now, you probably are asking, what did I do? I asked myself when I entered the classroom, what is expected of me by my students? Of course, one, and we know that, I don't know if you're tasked to do it, but here, since we have multicultural students, then we are asked to always have a PowerPoint presentation. So educators, teachers, be aware of what is needed in your area in order for you to become a great teacher. For us here, it's going to be the visual aid. Since I am in a multicultural environment, we are asked to utilize the PowerPoint presentation so that it is not just the auditory aspect of learning, but also the visual. Some students learn better when they see, while others when they hear. I started revising and enhancing my PowerPoint presentations. And if you see this slide in front of you, these are just examples of my PPTs. I keep them colorful and in alignment with the theme of the topic, especially now that everything is basically online. I find that students appreciate what are considered to be visually appealing. This is part of effective retentive learning. I could have just probably made a PowerPoint presentation with all the bullet points and with all the words, but no, of course, I wanted to be different. I want my visual aid to be exciting. So what did I do? I studied design. I took time to search the internet and YouTube, and thank God for the internet, for tutorials about color combination, about rule of thirds, about websites offering free images. I took time to search and learn because I want to be a great teacher, and the students deserve great learning. A teacher, of course, is not just an ordinary mouthpiece of text from the book. I hate it when teachers just read the textbook or the slides, the PowerPoint presentation, and they don't even take time to be convincing. A teacher is a storyteller. A teacher needs to enhance how to speak, which I did. I enhanced how I speak in front of the class. I researched YouTube again for the world's best speakers. For the world's, and these world best speakers, I allowed myself to be inspired, to know when to raise my voice or lower for emphasis. I learned how to dramatize with pauses so that students hung on to my every word. The rising and falling of my voice, the way I talk now, I took time to learn it. How about my hands? If you notice, I keep on using my hands for visual effect. Do you think that it comes naturally to me to have hands that are actively visual? You know, with all this compass and with all these hand signals? Of course not, teachers. According to my research, great teachers and speakers use hand gestures to make what they say intelligible. In fact, if I remember this, it was Dr. Carol Kinsey, a body language expert, who said that gesture is linked to speech, and gesturing while talking can power up both speakers and listeners. So please, teachers, let your hands talk. I don't know how strong your signal is in your area, but you need to explore digital applications. I am a person of innovation. I am technologically curious. Development in education is geared towards technology. When McGraw-Hill Publishing or Education invited me to go to London every year to share my expertise in digital education, they also shared with me what they were developing in terms of ebooks. And mind you, these are not ordinary ebooks. These are highly interactive ebooks. They even told me that in a few years' time, libraries and laboratories will be obsolete. I explored applications. I used them in my class. In my phone, I have materials I used while teaching. I was the one who researched and introduced a wireless classroom in my former college using Apple TV. My PowerPoint in my phone was being projected on TV without being attached to the wires. And of course, here's another example. Generally, I would check, if I'm allowed to by the institution, my attendance using my phone and even code grades using my phone. And of course, I put that in the system of our university. It is easier for me because of convenience. If students asked about their grades or performance, there was no need for me to go back to the office and open my notes. I will just have to look at my phone and I will know. And all of these are even stored in the clouds. Again, as I mentioned, it depends on your area, and it depends on how fast technological development is in your place. Next one, continually innovate on what doesn't work. As a teacher, I make it a point to experiment. If a methodology doesn't work, I change. I noticed that great teachers perpetually look for ways to improve their effectiveness. For example, in one research, it was found out by the researcher that every time he called up teachers who were making remarkable gains and progress, and he would visit and ask to visit their classrooms, he would notice it got a similar response from all of them. These innovative teachers would always say as a response, "You're always welcome to class, but I have to warn you, I am in the middle of just blowing up my classroom structure and changing my workshop because I think it's not working as well as it should." When you hear that over and over again, not just from one great teacher, but from the others as well, you start to form a hypothesis that great teachers constantly reevaluate what they are doing. Next is visit excellent teachers. One professional development strategy that is absolutely necessary, at least in my experience, is the use of visitations. According to Alvarado, again, that university chancellor, when teachers hear descriptions of a new practice, they want to see it themselves. With the same kind, of course, of students that they have, you have to visit other teachers, other universities, other colleges. But remember this, educators, visitation should be done for an explicit purpose. For example, teacher X should observe teacher Y at another campus because that teacher or professor uses a methodology in a way that promotes exactly what teacher X is trying to accomplish. A teacher should not visit for some generic observation because that is going to be useless. This is what I initially did. I learned by observing great teachers. What is important is to practice what you learned immediately and improve on them. In fact, I noticed that it is more effective if teachers make these visits in groups of 2 or probably more. Because as one researcher said, you need to be able to talk with someone about what you've seen. Next is you need to encourage, you need to support, and you need to motivate the students. I have these little things that I do to students, and the students greatly appreciate, which they talk about in the campus. I use WhatsApp group in my class, but since you're dealing, many of you, with pupils, whatever methodology that you come up in terms of grouping them, of making a team out of them. And in my case, I use WhatsApp because the internet here is rather strong. Again, as I mentioned, situate this in your class, in your area, because even if you're not able to do what I'm telling you now, what I'm trying to tell you is do something similar. Okay, do something similar in the context of the kind of materials and situation that you have in your place. In my case, I use WhatsApp group of a particular subject to communicate with students in a fast manner. Of course, I set parameters. They cannot text me using the chat group or me beyond 10 p.m. Sometimes I even also, set up a Facebook group. Of course, some of you are dealing with really young children, okay, for some of you. And I would like to think that there are apprehensions when it comes to that. Again, just try to be creative. Before the exams, if there is a celebration or a class, at least the way I do it, or a holiday or an activity, or every Thursday, I send a motivational quote to the chat group consistently. If you notice the screen, those are some of the motivation. These are generally quotations that I get from books or internet. Okay, once in a while, I send them every week consistently, especially when they're having examinations, because I want to encourage them and they appreciate it. Any quote that motivates them during events or occasions, a small thing you might say, but it shows empathy, one that they appreciate and remember. And this is my philosophy of education. I have always believed that education is education of character. It is not just the transference or the transmission of knowledge of information from the teacher to the student, but more importantly, the formation of values. I remember this. Students don't become educated because they know more, but because they understand better. And I want you to put that into your mind, the importance of what education really is. Education is not just about information. It is not about information alone, but who uses it and basically why. Teachers themselves should be responsible to teach students responsibly, one that is mindful of the collective, one that builds a community, not just protects a family. I have had students, and I wrote this on my Facebook wall, I have had students whose minds were photographic, but grew up corrupt and cheaters who affected horribly the communities around them. I have had students who were astoundingly intelligent, but couldn't last a year in the workplace. I have had students whose grasp of the general information and depth of rational inquiries were unbelievably accurate and logically sound, but whose sense of pride and entitlement made societies in shambles and economies crash. The photographic minds, the astoundingly intelligent, the logically sound, they do not necessarily become good persons. I think I could say that for certain because of my experience. I've graduated students who were very brilliant but became problems in society. And that is why, for me, education is not just a passing on of information, but education is education of character. Now, be guided by the principle that it is better to be kind than to be right. Remember, teachers, be empathetic, exercise empathy. You know what empathy is? Empathy is this. If a pupil, if a student is not able to submit an assignment, I ask the student first for the reason why. It is not that you are being lax. It is just that we do not know the battles many of their families, many of them are facing. So probe some more, ask questions, do not be harsh. Because, for many of you, you say that, well, it is the rule, it is the law, I need to follow the law. And the students know about it in the beginning. I've informed them about it, so they are expected to follow it. Rules are meant to protect people, not to oppress them. You would understand it yourself as you have fought many battles in your life. In matters of doubt, if you are not sure what to decide, then choose to be kind. It is better to err on the side of goodness. And I think this is what is lacking today in education. Not just in education, but among people when they relate to and with one another. I have heard teachers who boast and pride themselves that their classes are tough and they get their happiness from the fact that every time they give tests or every time they give examinations, more than half of the class fail. I've experienced many educators and teachers that. It is as if it is their badge of honor that the majority of the pupils or students fail. It is as if failing most students speak of how good they are. Let me tell you this. If more than half of your class fail in your test or are dropping and withdrawing from your subjects, it is not their failure. It is your failure. You have failed to explain clearly the knowledge that you have the obligation to pass on to the next generation. Your thrust and your task as an educator is to make them understand with the clarity of language and make them critical thinkers. When majority fails, you are not a teacher. As a global teacher, you are expected to be guided and to fulfill these three pillars: teaching excellence, research of Scopus quality, and probably, you can have trainings on this eventually, and of course, community involvement. Externally, as part of academic requirement, our global employability generally depends on these three, and make sure for many of you fulfill all of these three. Again, depending on the situation, but I would rather encourage you that even if it is not needed, you need to involve yourself in the community, you need to write, and of course, you need to improve the quality of your teaching. Teachers, being an educator is not easy. But we are who we are because we have a huge generational mission to fulfill. Imagine being a torch bearer of enlightenment and of course of wisdom itself. This is why we look at difficulties as challenges. As teachers, I know that each one of us faces our own battles, but we should not lose sight of the divine mission, the mission given to us, the education of the young. There was this very powerful quote on the very nature of difficulty by Randy Pausch in his memoir, The Last Lecture, wherein he compared difficulties with brick walls. He said that the brick walls are there for a reason, that wall. The brick walls are not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want to do something, because the brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough. Let me ask you that question. Do you want excellence badly enough? I would like to believe yes, because you were born to stand out. And of course, going back to the beginning of this talk about the story of my life, about the time when I was struggling, when I was homeless and crushed. Those were the moments before that, I was scared, I was frustrated, and I was asking the question, okay? I was asking the question like, why me? Why did it happen to me at that time? Why now? But I realized that I became who I am as a person today because of those experiences. I thought that those experiences were isolated cases. I thought that those experiences were disconnected and no relations to one another. I was wrong, of course, because just like the stars in the sky, at first glance you think that they are distant from one another, only to realize that the stars are connected, forming the heavenly constellations. My experiences from my first sunset of difficulty in Manila up to even today are all interconnected, forming who I am: stronger, courageous, empathetic, and hopefully wiser. Challenges, hardship, and difficulties, do not run away from them because they make you who you are. If you start running from difficulties now, you will be running for the rest of your life. I don't want much to concentrate upon difficulties and challenges that I faced and what I did in my desire to become a better teacher. As my way of ending my talk, let me just share with you what life has given me when I decided to become or pursue the path to excellence. This is not me bragging of my achievements, because I wasn't ashamed to tell you my experiences. The time that I didn't have home, the time that I was hungry, those times that when I left my province and went to Manila, the challenges and the hardships that probably I went through that many of you have not gone through, or probably yours is much worse. I don't know. Okay, but the point here is we can always do something about it. I want you to concentrate on what's best, on what is excellent. And that when you put your heart into something noble, that when you put your heart into something great, you affect humanity. And humanity responds with gratitude. Educators, I am Dr. Rex. I know that this was already part of the introduction. But I need to update that introduction. I am a former dean of the American College of Dubai. I have a Ph.D. in philosophy at De La Salle University. My Ph.D. in management research is in King's College, London. I finished it already. It's on organization and the human resource management in the UK. And I'm a digital faculty consultant for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, McGraw-Hill Education, England, UK. Administrator of online blended learning. I'm a co-founder of On Distinctive Design, a film and graphic design company. Adjunct faculty, undergraduate, American University of the Emirates. I'm also now a faculty as a part-time of Curtin University, an Australian university. I'm also an MBA faculty of Geneva Business School and York St. John. If you notice, these universities are basically universities from many other countries. Australia, you have European countries. And it is only because I'm able to teach with them and in these universities because I had my vision set on becoming excellent. I was awarded with the Kilang Bayani Award by the Philippine government through the UAE consulate. And by the way, Dr. Nino, the vice president of BASPA University, is also a Bayani awardee. Dr. Nino is one of the most famous persons here in the UAE. I was also awarded as one of the 100 most influential Filipinos in the Gulf, 2016, 2017, and 2018. And the magazine came up with what is known as a legacy edition in the Gulf, 2019, 2020, as part of the 300, which also Dr. Nino is a part of. I was invited by the United Nations as a speaker last September 21. For the International Day of Peace. This is one speaking engagement that I was glad I attended and became a part of, because you have here, many of the great speakers. You have Deepak Chopra there with me. You also have, among many other well-known speakers. I was interviewed by Abu Dhabi TV for excellence in education and contribution to the UAE. Gulf News, a newspaper here, made an article, a feature of me, and they've given me a title, an extraordinary inspirer for students. Another newspaper here in Dubai also mentioned me as one of the favorite teachers in the Gulf, in the UAE. ABS-CBN TFC made a feature of my life as a teacher, okay, as the idol of students. I was presented by the Philippine Consulate here as one of the influencers, specifically in Dubai. I was also considered to be one of the most empowering Filipinos in the UAE during the exhibit of a Paris-based artist, Ryan Arbilo. I was also part of a book, okay, and I think Dr. Nino is also here, profiling the book Behind the Domes of Majestic Mosque as one of the Filipino success stories. Last year, I was awarded as Innovator of the Year in the field of education, okay, by a magazine that is our ambassador. And I was also awarded as Educator of the Year 2019 by a newspaper here of the Filipino community, the Filipino Times. I was awarded also in 2020 as Outstanding Teacher by the United Federation of Filipino American Educators in New York. And let me say this again, Dr. Nino also got an award from New York. I was the only professor given the standing ovation by the multicultural students every graduation in the history of the college. My heart belongs to the community every time, and even here in the UAE, but more so in the Philippines. Every time that I go to the Philippines, I started giving talks, especially in my province, especially in summer. I go to the different colleges, my school, Summer National School, other universities, and schools also. I went around visiting children, and I started giving them some talks and inspiring other teachers that they could do it if they wanted to. I've probably given so many talks in my entire life, in my career as an educator, and everything for free. Okay, I've never really given a talk wherein I'm being paid. And for me, it's more of a mission. God has gifted me with the ability to talk well. And because of that gift, it is my obligation to give that back to the community. The gift was free. So again, that gift should be given freely. I've given talks to international and local communities. This one from the Arabs here, the locals here. This one is, sorry about it, the Al-Ain Hospital. I've given talks to the nurses and doctors of other countries, interviews as well. I've given talks to and participated in the UK because of Macro Hill. Every year they invited me to go there. And I have also given talks to the police here in Abu Dhabi, the military in the UAE. This is a funny thing because I'm so small and they're so large, they're so huge that I felt overwhelmed because of their height. But I'm also proud that they've invited a Filipino to talk about leadership to their military police, which they have not extended or asked to the Filipinos. Okay? And I would like to think that I'm doing also great service to our country. I'm a writer. I write for magazines, newspapers, and other publications here in the Philippines as well. And I usually contribute to newspapers. And they also ask me more often. They ask for my insights on certain issues and topics. And I've taken care of my reputation as an educator, as a teacher. And if you search for my name on the internet, you will have all those that I've done, that I've written, and the speaking engagement. And I hope you don't find a scandal there. Of course not. I hope so. Now, why do I do what I do? Because of legacy. That is what I do. I know that I'm going to be here in this world for just short a time. I know that I needed to do something for my community, for people. I'm very aware that eventually I'll reach the finish line. And when the time comes, I would be able to say to God, God, I did everything. I did everything. What you've told me, what you've instructed me. And I've run the race. I've finished the race. I've used the gifts you have given to me. And I hope that despite of my limitations, despite of my faults, and despite of my weaknesses, that you'll be able to forgive them because I did what you asked me to do, no matter how many times I have fallen. Classmates, in the end, I want to show to you this video about a student during graduation. Again, I hope that it runs well from your end, again, because of internet connection. But this is legacy. And this is what pushes me to go on as an educator.
I'd like to take this moment to thank our faculty members for their efforts that they have put forth to produce talented and educated individuals like me and you. And I'm going to deviate from the speech a little bit just to talk about my personal experience and how it affected me so great. If it wasn't for Dr. Rex, how would we know about the fallacies of life? How would we know about the phenomenology of love? How would we know about the history of mankind? How would we know to think outside the box and always question what is surrounding us? If there is any drastic change in my behavior that occurred to me on a personal level, it would have to be due to this fine gentleman. Thank you. Thank you for being a professor. Thank you for being a role model. Thank you for being a friend and inspiration to these young men and women with us here right now. Thank you.
Educators, thank you very much.
There you go. Thank you so much, Sir Rex. Nakakaiyak po ang last video na pinakita ni Sir. Very full of emotion at sinabi ng student, no, giving thanks to you because of what you've done to them. And thank you so much, Sir, for sharing your knowledge this afternoon. Ang dami po namin nalaman mula po sa inyong personal experiences, sa inyong pong pinagdaanan hanggang sa ngayon po, Sir Rex Bacarra. Maraming salamat po ulit. Okay. As promised, ngayon po namin ipapakita ang video namin, Sir. Yung naudlot na video kanina. Sir Ayan, please. Okay, there you go. Happy birthday, Sir.
Very, very heartwarming. Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sir. Happy birthday. Ilang taon na kayo, Sir Rex?
I'm 51. Imagine, I'm 51 now. Thank you so much.
Happy 51st birthday, Sir Rex.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we have the awarding of certificate, and before we have the open forum, Sir, I would like to ask Sir Nino De Senorio to give us a message of support. Sir Nino? Nandito pa ba si Sir Nino Doc dito?
Yes, he is. Nakikita ko siya.
Nandito pa man yata siya. Yung certificate lang muna siguro, Pril, kay Dr. Rex muna ang ibigay natin. Nandito na Sir Nino. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me, sir?
Ayan.
Narinig niyo ako?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
First, all the way from the United Arab Emirates, a pleasant afternoon, and congratulations to our state government educators for having this wonderful platform of learning from the best international educator here in the United Arab Emirates. And special mention to Dr. Adanza for having this brilliant idea of introducing how to become excellent educators. I do hope that you are going to continue embracing the new normal. You're going to embrace change. Education is a continuous process of learning, so we are here to support kami ng mga Filipino educators here sa ibang bansa. And hopefully, hindi magsasawa si Dr. Adanza o makulit makulit to
Please.
to request for international educators who are going to extend their services. And of course, sabi ko nga, it is really like an extraordinary time as of this moment because imagine your international resource speaker is celebrating his birthday today. He has, I think, the most or the busiest educator here in the United Arab Emirates, yet he is extending himself for free. I just wanted to share with you that once you're going to have Dr. Rex as your speaker, pinaka-minimum na talent fee niyan is $1,000 US.
Hindi
But he's doing it for free. He's, being invited by people from the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland to do trainings by the government here in the UAE, and for him to be able to extend himself to the Filipino educators back home is something really laudable and commendable. And thank you, Dr. Rex, for sharing your life. It's really an inspiring, and we are praying that our educators back home will be able to have the takeaways to look forward, not only to become an excellent teacher in teaching, research, but also somehow you would be able to be an instrument, you would be able to be the medium to touch lives. So, because again, even how brilliant you are as an educator, if you lack empathy, it's nothing. So we are transforming lives, and the lives of the next generation. This is the next generation that we are expecting to become leaders, to become the next educators, and you are making a difference now. To all of you, congratulations, especially the people behind the technical team. I know it's really hard. It's really hard. So congratulations to everyone. God bless, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Dr.
Nino.
Nino and Desenorio, Senior Vice President of the BASPA University, United Arab Emirates. Thank you, sir. Okay, so at this point, we will have the open forum first. Teachers, you're free to ask questions. Isulat po muna sa ating chat box bago ko po i-acknowledge na pwede kayong mag-on ng inyong microphone. Any question po para sa ating speaker na si Dr. Rex?
Opo, pwede po magtanong lalo na po sa love life ni Dr. Nino.
Mga love life, pwede daw pong itanong ang mga love life. Okay, may message po dito si Ma'am Erlyn Garay, Sir Rex. Ma'am Erlyn Garay is a principal here in General Santos City. Happy birthday, Dr. Rex. Thank you for sharing your inspiring experiences. It motivated us to be guided by the principle that it's better to be kind than to be right. Yes, thank you, Ma'am Erlyn. Sige po. First, any question for Dr. Rex? Huwag po kayong hiya. At huwag po kayong matakot magtanong.
Hindi po ito quiz, hindi po ito exam. Magtanong lang po.
Na-overwhelm yata si Rex sa iyong ano po.
Dr. Lito, just in case, if the COVID is lifted and if I'm able to go to Manila or to the Philippines, when because I usually have a vacation, then probably I could give workshops to in your area.
Sige, sir. Sige, sir.
Communicate.
Thank you, sir, in advance. We'll be happy to be your host family. General.
Thank you.
Okay. Sige na po, teachers. Any questions? Parang wala na po yatang magtatanong, Dr. Rex.
I have very bright students.
Okay, but many the chat box nag-overflow po ng birthday greetings and thank you. God bless you more. Okay. Looking forward daw po for another webinar with Dr. Rex.
Busy. Super busy.
Schedule will allow. We are hoping. Okay, Doc Lito, parang wala na pong magtatanong kay Dr. Rex, sir.
Pues sige. We will give the certificate of recognition.
Yes, sir. We will be having the awarding of certificates now. Okay. There you go. Okay, so yan po ang certificate for Sir Rex Bacarra. And Sir Rex, when the COVID is lifted, when the pandemic is over, we are hoping that you will visit General Santos City and this certificate will be handed to you personally. Okay. So
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I really am overwhelmed.
Yes,
I really
sir.
am overwhelmed with your accommodation, the way you accommodated me, and thank you very much, Dr. Lito, for inviting me. It really is an honor to be with you, and this is for me. This is one of the greatest birthday celebrations. My heart is always with teachers. My passion is in teaching, and to be able to get a certificate from you during my birthday is a day that I will treasure for the rest of my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sir Rex.
Please read the content of the certificate for Dr. Rex.
Yes, sir. Let me read to you the content of the certificate. Certificate of recognition is proudly presented to, in grateful recognition for his valuable and unwavering support he extended as resource speaker of the webinar on personal and career excellence, Decoding the Whys and Hows of Great Educators, sponsored by Batspa University, UAE, in coordination with the Department of Education, General Santos City, held on November 4, 2020 via Google Meet, given this 4th day of November 2020 at General Santos City, Philippines. Signed, Romelito G. Flores, CESA 5, Schools Division Superintendent. Certificate of recognition is proudly presented to Dr. Rex D. Bacarra.
Thank you, Sir Rex. Thank you, Sir Rex.
Thank you.
For Sir Nino.
Okay, we also have a certificate for Sir Nino de Senorio.
Please read the content of the certificate also to Dr. Nino.
Okay, certificate of recognition is proudly presented to, in grateful recognition of his valuable and unwavering support he extended as facilitator of the webinar on personal career excellence, Decoding the Whys and Hows of Great Educators, sponsored by Batspa University, UAE, in coordination with the Department of Education, General Santos City, held on November 4, 2020 via Google Meet, given this 4th day of November 2020 at General Santos City, Philippines. Signed, Romelito G. Flores, CESA 5, Schools Division Superintendent. Certificate of recognition is proudly presented to Dr. Nino M. De Senorio.
Thank you, Sir Nino.
Thank you so much with overflowing joy. Thank you so much.
Para sa Certificate of Participation, Pril, si Dr. Nino magbasa.
Okay, sir.
Do we have it on screen?
April, maano siya sa screen, ang Certificate of Participation.
Okay lang. Sir Ayan,
Si Ayan, please.
pwede bang ma-present sa ating ang certificate of participation?
Wait po.
While they are waiting, Dr. Lito, your background is a banner?
A tarpaulin.
It's a tarpaulin, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Nagawa kami ng dalawang tarpaulin, isa kay April, isa rin sa akin.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's here, sir Rick.
Yeah, I cannot. Anyways, I'm going to have my mobile phone. The Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, Region 12, Division Regional City, Certificate of Participation is awarded to all successful attendees of this seminar for the valuable contribution during the international webinar on personal and career excellence, Decoding the Whys and Hows of Great Educator, sponsored by Bacarra University, United Arab Emirates, held on 4th November 2020 via Google Meet. Given this 4th day of November 2020 in the city of General Santos, signed by Dr. Nino M. Dicinoyo, yours truly, Senior Vice President of Bacarra University, United Arab Emirates, Dr. Rex Bacarra, International Resource Speaker. To everyone, congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Nino and Sir Rex. Okay, so wala talagang nagtanong, no? Wala talagang questions for Dr. Rex Bacarra. And ano pa ba po ang masasabi namin kundi ang malaking pasasalamat mula po dito sa Division ng General Santos. And also to our EPS, Education Program Supervisor, Dr. Lito S. Adanza. Sir?
Can we have a picture? Can we have a picture with Dr. Rex and Dr. Nino? Parang isang ano na lang. Pwede ba sino magkuha, si Ayan or si ano ba?
Yes, sir.
Can you open your cam, please? Kahit isang ano lang, as part of our documentation.
Paki-open po ng cameras natin, teachers, for the documentation. Ayan.
John Mark, Emily, Ems, ikaw na lang mag-picture, Ems. Sino man ang mag-ano? Oo. Then, ang mga great backgrounders, alin na kayo. Dr. Rex, itong isa dito, principal ng IP school sa Jensen. He's si Sir Kael Adam, yung naka-white.
Galing.
Nasa mountainous area yung kanyang school. 100% are Blaans, IP. Students.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you. I hope to visit you one of these days, really.
Sige sir, kung makapunta ka ng Jensen, puntahan natin yung mga IP schools. Iikot tayo doon. Para
Sure.
Then ito naka-yellow naman, a teacher from Janiang High School, another school from Jensen. Public Secondary School, si Cyril Jan Cervantes. Ito yung tumulong tarpaulin kaninang umaga.
That was so nice of you. Thank you so much. And I ask everyone also to switch on their cameras. I will also have a screenshot para ma-post ko naman sa aking social media.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay po. Paki-on po ng ating camera for the documentation. Ayan na. Sir Ayan, ikaw bang magpipicture? Okay. Okay na, Sir Ayan?
Yes po, ma'am. Yes po, ma'am. Yes po.
Okay. Please, Sir Ayan. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay na po ang documentation. Sir Rex, nakakuha ka na ba ng picture, sir?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so at this point, we will have the online evaluation. Sir Lito, okay lang ba po na ang online evaluation is later part or kailangan
Later part na nila gawin.
Sige. So later part na lang po ang ating online evaluation.
Basta makasubmit sila kasi that is one of the requirement for the certificate of participation.
Okay po. So ang link po pinasa ni Sir Mark sa ating chat box. So isa po yan sa requirement for our certificate of participation right after our webinar. Okay? So Sir Lito, ano ka pa po bang message before tayo magkaroon ng ating closing prayer?
Yeah, in behalf of the Department of Education, General Santos City, we would like to express our sincerest thanks and profound gratitude to the birthday boy, Dr. Rex Bacarra, for the time. We know that you have a lot of things to look into and you're too busy, but you find time with us this afternoon. Also with our great facilitator from the Batspa University, the Senior Vice President for Batspa University, United Arab Emirates, Dr. Nino Di Sinorio, for helping us and to make this international webinar successful. Thank you so much. A million thanks to both of you. We hope to visit the social studies teachers for those who are interested if the COVID-19 will be over. And if you have time, you can visit also as part of the benchmarking activities, as mentioned by Dr. Rex. If you want to grow or to grow professionally, we need to visit high-performing schools and high-performing teachers in other countries. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Dito Adanza. And we started our webinar with a prayer, and we should finish this with a prayer also. So for the closing prayer, this will be led to us by Sir Alvin Macadagum, also a teacher, a senior high school teacher here in Real Santos City. Sir Alvin.
Thank you, Ma'am April. Let us bow down our head. Thank you, Lord, for a successful seminar. We know that you have blessed us, hence this success. You keep blessing us as we go out of this virtual seminar and apply what we have learned in our profession. Grant what we do is fully aware that it is not ourselves that we learn, but the service of other people. Make us realize that all our actions and plans should be done for your greater glory. Shower us your divine guidance so that we would decide wisely and properly. May you send your Holy Spirit so that we would have no fear in meeting the challenges that our everyday lives entail. Make us realize that without you, we are nothing. All this we pray and offer to you. Amen.
Amen.
And thank you, Dr. Rex. Have a birthday again.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Inform us if you will be coming to the Philippines back and to General Santos City. We'll be very proud to be your host family.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Salamat. Salamat sa panahon. Salamat, Dr. Nino. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Very soon, Dr. Nino.
Thank you so much, teachers. Ma'am and sirs, thank you for your participation, for your time and effort in attending our webinar. Thank you for the new knowledge coming from our speakers. Have a birthday blast, Rex!
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank
Sir Rex.
you.
Yes,
Thank you.
kaninyo. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, TWG, we will have a short meeting right after this.
April, mag-create ko another link.
Yes,
April.
yes. Mag-create daw ng another link, Ma'am Ems. Dito ma-access ang link, Mark, sa evaluation.
Walang ano man. Mamaligatan ni Felix.
Sir Billion na link niya.
Di ka ni kay Sir Billion?
Yes.
Muna yung link na gihatag, ibutang dito sa memo.
Ano ni Ma'am Janine?
Sabi ko pala lang muna ako.
Sa-try ninyo?
Kailan ka na, April, nagtuyok-tuyok na ang kuan, April.
Hindi
ma-open.
No longer. Accepting
No longer accepting.
tripod ko.
Sige lang ako yung si Sir ninyo ulit, Pink. Sir ninyo si Sir Juan.
I-ano na to, sir. I-post na to sa group chat kung kanon sa group page.
Opo.
Available na.
O, dali lang ha. Kaya mag-create na.
Okay na, sir.
Yung mga naiwan po, we will contact Sir Felix Billion kasi siya po nag-generate ng link for the evaluation. I-post po namin sa page yung new link for the certificates po.
Nagano na ako ng link.
Okay, so mag-link na kami dito, sir.
Thank you po.
Ay, hala. Saan ako pag sa link?
Pag-live sa...
Oo. Ini?
Copy-paste na siya.
Kini dahil wala na ko na tuldok. Salamat intang, thank you Lord. Na April, pakiana hata ila Emily. Close na yun, no?
Service.
Work experience ba? Mukhang work experience. Mani mo gipang kuan pa? Mani mo gipang close? Bay, pang save ni mong gitrabaho. Pang save ni. Pang save. Carlo.